Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Just Plain Lane. My name is Lane, and today we are going to be sewing up the Tessa bag from Lanyos Handmade. This is a beautiful little crossbody bag, easy to make, very doable on a domestic. I have made this with both vinyl and cotton, interfaced cotton, and now I'm trying some canvas on the domestic to see how it works. I don't think we're going to have a problem. I am sewing on a Janome Memory Craft 8900 today with a size 16 needle. I am using Wizardry Stitchery's Phoenix Fire. I think it's going to be beautiful with this bag. What else can I tell you? I have already mark as many of my pieces as I can ahead of time. So I'm really excited about that. It helps me stay organized. You're going to see some cuts in this. For some reason, my recording device does not want to record for more than an hour. So if you see me glance at my watch, it's because it's telling me it's an hour. Check your recording. The pattern, I'm not going to show you pattern pieces. I'm not going to give you dimensions and sizes other than to say I top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I based at 1/8 of an inch. I think that's pretty standard. I'm not even sure that pattern actually states what you do. I'm going to follow the pattern as much as I can. There may be some things out of order though, because I like to do my strap first. If you saw the little intro I did on my project box, I like to get the strap out of the way. I have heard a lot of makers that feel the same way. They do the strap first so that when they are done and turn their bag and they're admiring it, they can put their strap on. There are 3 different straps in this pattern. I'm actually doing a myriad of them. I have another video I'm going to put out clips or reels of that'll show you the actual cross body strap that I put together. This one is going to be a crossbody, but without a lot of hardware. I took my main fabric and I cut out half the length that I'm going to need for the crossbody. Then I took my kind of the contrasting fabric or the second exterior fabric. You'll see it on a pocket here in a few minutes. I also cut it out. I'm going to put this together so that I have my main fabric for most, oh look at there, they don't match, for most of the bag, and then this really beautiful Lauren Momino rose pattern that will hang down kind of like this, just as an accent for the crossbody. I'm going to take a break here for a second and figure out what I did why my straps don't match. So hold on. Okay, I'm back. I had cut my main fabric at 4.5 instead of 4. I want a 1/8 strap, 4-inch cut. So now what I'm going to do is take the main piece, the main color, and the accent. I'm going to put them right sides together and give them a stitch. I'm going to use a joining stitch that's good for my domestic. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance just to connect them together. I'm going to take a couple of joining stitches forward, then a couple of back. And I'm going to back stitch at the end. And use my auto cut. As always, I'm going to trim my tails so they don't get stuck in other pieces. And that's what it's going to look like. And now we're going to rinse and repeat. Now I'm going to put a line of my favoritist tool down the middle, and that is double-sided tape. I swear I do not know what we did before double-sided tape. I started on the folded side, went all the way down. Now I'm going to start back up here. Should be a lot easier. I'm going to use the same method. I'm going to move my needle over so I can get a good eighth of an inch there. I'm going to run the zipper foot right along the edge, and this side is going to be much easier since we're not having to figure out if we're stitching everything together correctly. Take a couple of stitches, then back stitch. And back stitch at the end. And now we've got the main part of our crossbody complete. I'm going to put the two seams together, make sure the ends are the same, and they are. But I think that's going to be cute. A little solid up here, a little color at the bottom. For this crossbody, I am just going to put on, well, we'll have D-rings on the bag, and I'm just going to put on swivel hooks here. I will probably stabilize it with a rivet or two, mainly just to give it a little color. So let's go get our swivel hooks. A typical crossbody that's adjustable would have a slide, the 2 hooks. I'm only using the swivel hooks. I'm going to find the top side, the pretty side for me, the side I want to show on the outside of my straps. I've already verified that they're pretty much at the same length, which is great. I'm going to slide my swivel hook side up over the top so that my pretty stitching, in this case just my variegated thread, is on the outside. Figure out how much room I want, and then I'm going to sew this up. I do have strap ends, so those are going to be on there, but I'm going to put the little box on there first. I like to get it as close to the swivel hook as I can, but there still needs to be a little room. If you don't leave a little wiggle room in your snap in, it's going to wear away at your fabric at 2 or 3 times the pace that it normally would. So a little wiggle room, but stitching fairly close. I am going to come into the middle, and I'm going to stitch a couple of stitches forward and back, then from the middle towards me and back. I need to return, in my case, my needle to the center of my zipper foot. So there we go. Now I'm going to take when I get to the end, in this case, I'm going to cut it, because if I try to, I'm not sure, let's see if I can get you zoomed in. Maybe not. There we go. If I try to swivel that way, the back of my foot is going to be on top of my hardware, and that's just not going to work. So what I'm going to do is come down about 3/4 to an inch. I'm going to go to the middle again. I'm going to take a couple of stitches forward, a couple of stitches back, and then I'm going to go to this edge, and now I'm going to swivel towards my hardware. I'm going to try to stay sewing on the line I have already created along the side and up to the one we did across the fabric. So when I get up there, I'm going to take a couple back. Okay, so now we've made this part, that part, and halfway here. I'm going to do the same thing now after I trim that thread, because man, I may not be able to see that later. I'm going to start in the middle and go towards this stitch line and up here. That way I don't ever have to worry about the back of my zipper foot being on top of the hardware and making everything go wonky. Make sure I'm right on that stitch. A couple forward, a couple back, up to the seam stitch line, swivel, and up to the cross line, which is still a little tight to the hardware. I'm going to swivel and go all the way across again. And after I drop a few clips, you see the back of this is a mess, but the front is pretty sweet. Can you see that? Oops. Here, let me see. I'm still getting used to this new camera way of doing things. So you've got a little box. I am going to put a ribbon in there, and I'm going to put a strap in. So let's do the other side. I want to make sure that my pretty stays on the outside. I know that because I've got my variegated thread on top. Some people like to put an X in this box. It's not something that I really prefer unless I'm doing something more manly. Then I might do that. But I am going to put a rivet there. So here we have our crossbody strap all done. Let me take you out so you can see it kind of all together. The bottom's going to be bright and pretty. The top, kind of utilitarian. We're going to put this to the side. I'm going to put it back in my box. Next thing we're going to do are the D-rings. So I'm going to do these pretty little D-rings. I'm going to do this the same way I did the strap. So on the other side, of course, on the wrong side, I'm going to put a strip of double-sided tape down the middle. I'm going to paint them together. Oh, I also need to put my strap ends on. Next step is our main zipper. We're going to put our zip ends on them. These are going to lay sideways so the long end goes against the zipper. I am going to go off camera for a second and press these. With this kind of vinyl, it only takes a second, but it can be pressed. You just don't want to do high heat and leave it on too long, or you'll melt everything and you will be very sad. I would be very sad. So give me a second. You know, it would really have helped if I turned my iron on, but I didn't. So while the iron's heating up, so you're gonna fold them in half, make a line. Then you're gonna fold the halves towards the center. It's gonna look a little bit like your D-rings, but it's not gonna operate like your D-rings. There are many ways to put these on. I'm going to show you the way that's done in the pattern, just so that we're consistent. Then I folded the other half towards the center. I'm going to put a couple of clips on it, so hopefully those lines will stay, and then I'll show you another way to do it. The other way is take a ruler. I'm using this 1/2-inch ruler that I have, and I'm going to use a pen, if I can find a pen. Here, let me get 3 of them. I'll use this regular pen, and I'm going to draw that line down the center. I would measure this, except that I can see where I ironed it, and then a 1/2 inch in from each edge. We went from bright sunlight outside to now it's going to storm. I don't know if everyone deals with lighting like that, but it's definitely a problem here. So here is another way. Let's see if I can show those. Why is it? Can you see those lines? That is really difficult to see. Oh, maybe there. No, barely. Anyway, I drew the lines. So now what you're going to do with these is you can find the center. I'm going to eyeball it, and you want to place your tab and your zipper right sides together, centered along this long end. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, but it's helpful. You'll notice a difference. On this one that I ironed, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to eyeball it, but I am going to center as much as I can the zipper and the fabric. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam along the zipper. Keeping it centered can be an issue if you don't have the presser foot on it. This is a good time to maybe go a few inches, or inches is not the word, millicentimeters. Yeah, I know, I don't know what I'm saying. But make sure your presser foot is on the zipper tape. Excuse me. And now we're going to sew over that, being sure to take some stitches, back stitch, use your fingers or a tool to press it if you need to, and back stitch. So now it looks like that. Now we're going to fold over and press with our fingers along that seam that we just sewed. There we have a zipper. Now, anybody notice something wrong? Yeah, let me go fix it.